Hello and welcome to Click Naija online channel, your go-to platform for conversation that shapes our digital and national realities. I am Nasir Yunusa and we'll be unpacking AI misinformation ahead of 2027 general election. And with me is the founder, executive director, AI Safety Nigeria, Dr. Ayuba Todolu. Thank you for joining us on the Outlook.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome to Click Naija.
Thank you.
So our social media handle for Facebook and Instagram at Click Naija, for X and YouTube at Click Naija 1. AI misinformation refers to false and misleading content created or amplified using artificial intelligence tools. These include deepfake videos, clone voice, AI-generated images, and even fake articles that looks highly credible. Mr. Eva, tell us more about AI misinformation.
So AI misinformation, especially as regard the danger it poses for the 2027 elections, basically what we think will become the biggest threat in our elections come 2027. And that is because deepfakes travel faster than real truth. I mean, before any journalist would be able to confirm or even look at those videos, those deepfake videos, twice or once, it has gone through millions. And that's because, not because our people are just, they want to do all of this, it's because the tools that are available to generate artificially intelligent videos where you can clone voices, you can portray a candidate collecting money or bribe, or an INEC official collecting money with the real face and identity of that person. And when that happens, it goes around via WhatsApp, social media, and that's because Nigeria has the highest population of social media users when it comes to Africa.
Wow.
So you see the danger it can pose, in this age and time. These are tools that usually basically used for high-tech movies and research work, but today they are open sourced, they are available, so we can generate anything in less than 2 minutes. And it will spread like wildfire.
So it's that easy to use?
It is so easy that even a 12-year-old, 10-year-old can go online and generate, deepfakes via either video or audio or even images. And that's how terrible the situation is when it comes to misinformation that will threaten our elections in 2027.
Now my next question is, now how different is this from the regular fake news? That's the AI misinformation and the fake news. We know when we say something, okay, it's fake news. Now how is it different from, like we have seen from past election, fake news, AI misinformation, because they will use digital prints for AI misinformation?
So deepfakes in this era of misinformation are slightly different from the regular fake news. And fake news can just be something similar but try to manipulate that news. However, deepfakes carries the identity, the image of a person and makes it so real. And that's why it's called deepfake. It is deeper than the regular misinformation or fake news that we carry. And if we want to say, oh, there is a written publication about somebody who says, oh, we are not doing this around election, I'm trying not to call names or mention names, but in deepfake videos, it spreads. Images has a lot to do because you are seeing, and it has a lot to do with your mental health, and you are able to get emotional about it, and that can change your decision instantly about who to vote or who not to vote, or who is credible or who is not credible. So it is a powerful tool, and that's why in the AI world we say that artificial intelligence can cause a catastrophic harm, or it can even bring about an existential risk. Because before now, media was a tool that could cause all of this catastrophe. You remember the Rwanda genocide, so it's more or less like now AI can do what's more. And definitely, I'm sure you are not far from the news around Anthropic and the US Department of War. So these are kind of situations we face when it comes to, you know, artificial intelligence and deepfakes, as you could mention.
As an expert, I heard you say how dangerous this can be. How can we identify when we see a fake or a deepfake videos?
And that's even more tricky, because even people in the tech world can hardly identify, you know, deepfakes that are generated by artificial intelligence. And that's because not everybody understands the metrics on how these are generated. There are voices that you could sense or hear, and you know those voices are AI generated. There are some videos, most of the free tools in you know, generating these deepfakes, because they are free, they don't carry some level of consistency. So you could see, if I move my hand, you will see my hand will probably pass through an image that usually shouldn't be. So it requires careful study to be able to see that this does not, you know, happens to be real than it is fake. So people and government should be more particular about ensuring that deepfakes are not only being studied to know whether they are misinformation, but how can we even limit the use of it during the election, before the elections, and after the elections. So these are where I think the conversations really should be centered around, because again, it is better to avoid the harm than allow the harm to happen and then you begin to find a way to solve it. So why allow it happen in the first place where you can mitigate those harms?
Now, my next question, looking ahead of 2027, how serious is this threat to Nigeria's electoral process?
It is a serious threat, and that is because these tools are in the hands of oppositions, whether for or against. These tools are in the hands of people who do not currently are enjoying our electoral processes, and they can do anything to, you know, harm or stop these processes. And I'll give you a typical example. One of the examples is in South Africa, when the current president was coming back for his second term in election, and there was a deepfake video seeing Trump supporting, or in the words saying that he is giving his blessings to the current president. Even his daughter had shared that on her platform, and every other person has shared that in their platform. And that alone could just be the right thing that could make everybody, because if a world power is supporting you, then it means you are credible, you are good to go. That alone, you know, is a total deepfake. The same thing happens. One of the presidential candidate of Nigeria in the 2020 election had his voice notes sent around WhatsApp platform online, saying that he was planning to rig the elections and all. And that brought about his credibility, you know, popularity coming down. And so they are serious threats, and they can cause a huge form of harm to Nigerians totally. Because again, it means that people can become emotional. People vote based on emotions at this point in time. Everybody wants to be able to see whether it's their candidate or whatever. And some again move with the flow. So if they said, look, this person has signed a deal, for example, a deal that could take Nigerians out of poverty. If it's a deep fake, everybody will move towards that person. And so it's a big threat, it's a huge threat. And I hope that our electoral bodies and government are able to come together to ensure that we are able to mitigate this harm and reduce it to the barest minimum.
You've given us real life scenarios on how this might play out. You talked about the candidate's voice note and all that. Can you still give us more real life experience? Because I can remember some months ago, there was this young man in Buhari that created a security tension in Abuja. That the commissioner of police sent his boys a track, because he created a situation that bandits had come to Abuja, guns shooting everywhere. They were like, where is this in Abuja? I watched when the news said the commissioner of police had to trace The boys, I don't want to call his name, and he was living in Buhari. When he was caught, you see why did he want? He said he wanted to have followers. That's why he created that video. So can you give us more experience or more life scenarios so that the youth can learn that this is dangerous? And
so basically, like I earlier said, that these videos don't take time to be created. Anybody who feels agitated and does not really like your face as a presidential candidate or a gubernatorial candidate or even a senatorial candidate can decide to take your pictures, images, and begin to manipulate them and create deepfakes that can make it either promote that person or demarket that person. But look at how much that video took and how long it took the Nigerian police to be able to go trace and say, look, we want to be sure if this is real or this is not real. In fact, it was that period the US government issued a travel warning and asked its non-essential staff to leave Abuja
because of the tension.
So
from a deepfake video.
From a deepfake video. So it is that serious, and it can cause, like I said, it can cause an existential risk, because if somebody wakes up and acts on that video, imagine on election day and they share a video to say, because this is a stronghold of a particular political party, and they share a deepfake video that says there's gunshot going on in that place, and all you need to do is take a picture of that place and use a deepfake AI tool to be able to sort it out, and eventually it will cause voter apathy. And so you have people not voting in those areas, and you allowing the people in the stronghold area to be able to take the votes. So there are so many. We've seen videos, even in the crisis that happened in Jos, where deepfakes were being generated, saying that one person is calling for revenge when it never happened. So I give credit to your studio for even talking about this, because these are what other media houses are not currently discussing. But I tell you, it's probably going to come in like a wildfire. If what you're doing right now, other media houses are also doing this, it could help spread some level of information that people are aware, and they are not going to spread and share anything they see without verifying them.
Social media platform plays a big role here. Now, are they doing enough? Now, because we have all type of everybody's a blogger, can stand up and become a blogger, decide to create followership. So are these social media playing big role here? Are they doing enough to curb this AI misinformation?
Funny enough, it is through those medias that these misinformations or disinformations are probably being spread across. I said in my opening that the Nigerian youth has the biggest. You can imagine one person has 10 million followers. You could use that to change the country. You could use that to change the world. But what do they use those platforms for? They use it to promote themselves. And it is actually, not helping. If we have 3 or 4 social media influencers that can take this kind of information to say we want to be able to sensitize the people against deepfakes or against misinformation or disinformation, I tell you to do a lot. But so they are not doing enough as far as I'm concerned. However, remember we've got an electoral act. The question we always ask, did they ever look at deepfake as a threat to our elections when all of this happens? There is none. So the only aspect that protects anybody or make anybody get penalized or even taken to court is the NPDC is that organization that ensures that data privacy is being protected. So that is the only aspect we have that roles to play. So deepfake, AI misinformation, all of these are not mentioned in our electoral laws. So people might be able to go scot-free. So social media, yes, we have laws guiding, privacy, ensuring that you do not at any point take anybody's image without his consent.
What about the users? What role do Nigeria play now? how can Nigeria, what do the Nigerians, individuals, me and you, the young Nigerians, what role do we play to curb this misinformation?
The role we can play is to ensure AI literacy. We do not have any platform in Nigeria that talks about artificial intelligence literacy. The problem in artificial intelligence or AI safety is not about the talent, it's about the penetration. A lot of young people, a lot of government officials, a lot of political holders do not at any point even understand what is artificial intelligence. If you talk about artificial intelligence, a lot of young people, politicians, government officials think that you are talking about generative AI, chatbots, and all of that. Pictures, image refining and all. So, but it's deeper than that. So we need to be able to talk about deepfakes, we talk about misinformation, we need to talk about a whole lot that is happening, terrible biases that are happening, even ensuring that large language models are being corrupted. So until we are able to get to that point where we can say, can we all come to the table where we inform young people about AI literacy? Can we have this as a regular conversation anywhere in the media, in gatherings, so that people can have that information or understanding they need to get themselves empowered? There are also several tools we can use, also using AI to identify deepfakes. Yes. So, but if people are not aware about AI safety, then how can this happen? That is the role you and I can play by ensuring that people are told about the possibility of using their images. You know what happened in Grok, where Grok can undress a person, and they've used that to tarnish people's images, especially young ladies. So if those kind of informations are not known to people, how can they be able to mitigate that? So you and I have a role, all Nigerians have a role to play, and the role they have is ensuring that AI literacy is discussed at every level. Primary schools, secondary schools, universities. The government should invest in research works around AI safety. They should invest in serious research work that will bring about more development around all of these conversations.
Thank you very much. So you've been giving us practical steps on how we can reduce the impact of AI misinformation before 2027. Give us more lights on this.
One of the best things we must do is we need to hold the organizations or MDAs accountable. We have NITDA, we have NCAI. NCAI is the National Center for AI, Artificial Intelligence and Robotics. And these organizations are mandated by law to ensure that AI systems are deployed safely, ethically, and ensure that they also use that office to empower young, upcoming organizations that are also doing this work. One of the things we do is to help, and that's what we do. We run programs, we teach people, we tell people. We are currently running a fellowship and these are free. So we do this because we want people to be empowered. We want people to say, look, at this point we can be able to play our role to ensure that deepfakes, misinformation, biases are mitigated to the highest level, where it does not become a national threat to Nigeria, to our elections, even to, because we're only talking about it in the context of election, but it poses other threats in our finances, in healthcare, in agriculture, and all of that. So yes, I think the government should play more roles. Currently, we do not have a law guiding AI in Nigeria,
which is very important.
Which is very important because laws are what you can use in courts and for litigation to prove your points. So currently, all the pending laws, I want to say that they should take them seriously. There's the HB 942 law that currently has gone through first reading. They should be able to go through second reading and make it a law so that people, developers, can also help. I also think we should be able to look at creating guardrails. Guardrails are what we can use to mitigate bad informations that are being generated, through AI. So everybody who is probably generating anything knows that there is a guardrail. It does not meet this standard. Nigeria has what is called the Nigerian AI strategy 2025. Those strategies need to be, taken from strategy level, implement them into core systems in Nigeria, and that can become a framework that we can use to have a basic, channel where all artificial intelligence systems can be controlled.
Thank you very much. Now, before we wrap up, what's your message to Nigerians ahead of 2027 elections?
My message to Nigerians is to ensure that you do not share informations that you cannot verify the source. No matter how pressured you are, no matter how emotionally connected you are to the candidate, no matter how emotionally connected you are to our electoral processes, if the information does not come from verified sources like INEC, then disregard. If you do that, you will help mitigate the catastrophe or the threat artificial intelligence poses in 2027 and even other elections that are ahead of us.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ayuba, for sharing your insights. As we move closer to 2027, one thing is clear: technology will shape our election, but how we use and respond to it will define our democracy. Be informed, be responsible, and always verify before you share. Thanks to my producer, Rotimi Martins, Jessica Osagi, Oyeyemi Aboladi, Iyoma Ikeje. I am Nasir Yunusa, and this is Click Naija online channel. Stay connected.